my guest is Srinivas Reddy. He is the CTO, the Chief Technology Officer of TaxBuddy and FinBingo. Today, we're going to be talking the quiet shift in remote work and a lot more. So, Shri, please introduce yourself and your company.
Hi, Gara. So primarily, I am the co-founder and CTO for TaxBuddy and FinBingo. We primarily started as a tax compliance service around 6 years back, and then we gradually moved up the ladder from tax compliance to tax planning to portfolio management, investment
Mhm.
management. It's been an interesting journey. We today cover, so we started with the salaried class urban population. Then we moved on to cater to even gig professionals. Gig professionals, I don't know if you understand, those are the delivery partners of the Uber drivers and others who
Okay.
also need to do tax compliance. More than tax compliance, a lot of tax is deducted from their income. So we were the first to initiate a process where they could get back their tax refund primarily. So that was a different audience altogether. So we moved to gig professionals. And this year we moved to even the rural population with our tie-up with the Indian Digital India initiatives like eMitra and others. So we are the backend for them. So we started primarily as a B2C, targeting. And then
Mhm.
we gradually moved to B2B2C. So we're primarily a B2C service provider, but our customer acquisition happens through B2 in two modes. One is we work with large corporates like the Dells of the world, IBM's, Infosys of the world here in India, and as well as any company which has more than 100 employees. We work with their HRs to cater to their employees primarily. So we do educational programs, we do webinars and other things for them. And finally, we help them with some discounted service for their tax compliance primarily, tax planning and other things. So that is one B2B approach. The second approach, which is very interesting, is we work with a lot of partners who have their own user base. So we work with like ICICI Bank in India, which is one of the largest banks here, and some PSU banks, BBS banks, and others, where we basically work with them for their users. So we do webinars for their end users, banking customers, or even their corporate customers. So let's say ICICI has a large steel company as a corporate customers. We work with them as partners, do these webinars, tax compliance education, and through their apps and their digital assets, we provide service. One of the biggest tie-ups we did recently is Geo Financial Services, which is headed by Reliance Industries, which is one of the large industry houses in India. And then the other thing, we move to the rural side where we work with eMitra, which is a Rajasthan government initiative there. So that those are the ways in which we've kind of grown over a period of time. So that's where we are today. So filing is a very seasonal business by nature. So I'm sure
Correct.
you file in the last week or last 15 days at best. So 85% of our business from a tax filing or compliance thing happens in the last 15 days primarily. Right?
Mhm.
So what we realized that how do we scale this business? Because you cannot be having an in-house staff, available across the year where the major part of the work is only 15 days, right? So although initially as we were finding a product fitment, we did recruit a lot of staff. We kind of build the organization ourselves. But then how do we scale? So that's when 3 years back, we started this initiative where we started working with a lot of partners. So when we say
Mhm.
filing partner, these are primarily tax compliance businesses. So there are, like you got CPA in USA, India, they're called chartered accountant CAs. So we
Correct.
open with a lot of CAs who primarily are spread around India. Okay. And this is where your remote working philosophy comes in basically. So we've got almost 3,000 partners spread across India. And they work with us on a partnership mode. So they go through a course. So they are very good when it comes to domain expertise, taxation, but they have
Mhm.
challenges around soft skills, technology skills, and other things. So what we've done is we've trained them onto our whole engine, the back office system, everything. Paid training program. So one that becomes a profit center. Second, we get very selected, kind of people who are serious about being partnership with us. It's not a free for anyone kind of a walk-in system. So we
Mhm.
train them, we kind of make them, they go through a certification program, then they become a part of our partnership program, right? So this way it gave us two advantage. One, the ability to scale up and scale down because we don't have in-house staff now. We are very lean in-house staff. And so
Uh-huh.
now staff is only managing this partners, ensuring they are working on time, they are kind of getting their leads and everything. So we keep saying we've got two customers. One is who wants to file income tax return. The
Mm-hmm.
second is who is willing to serve the customers. We are primarily, if you look at, we are a technology platform where
Mm-hmm.
there are partners who are willing to file income tax returns, and there are users who are willing to file their return. Now, so we are like a Uber of taxation, if you want to call it that way, right? So
I love it. I love it. So, how does your typical day normally look like based on your role as the CTO of the company?
CTOs or co-founders are what I call CEOs, Chief Everything Officers. So it never remains with the technology. So you start your, so again, it's very seasonal by nature. So during a normal, not the peak of the season, it's mostly around working with the product team, setting up the milestones, working with the cloud, all the development team and others. On a, as the season comes closer, we start doing a lot of corporate tie-ups, as I said. So a lot of these tie-ups, they are very deeply integrated products. So if you look at our Geo Finance app, the TaxBuddy app is actually inside that app. So we work with a lot of partners on how do we integrate different stakeholders. So that's another part. And during the season, I think everyone does. I think everyone gets into an operation mode, firefighting mode, because as I said, the peak of the season starts. In fact, it's going on now. And then, that's how it works.
Got you. So, and your journey in the tax preparation world, how did that start? How did you get into that industry?
That's very interesting. So the CEO of the company, Samir,
Mhm.
incidentally, and Samir are classmates during our
Mhm.
college days. So I'm talking about 20, 25 years from now. So we studied together. I did my bachelor's of computer science, and Samir was with me we were in Ferguson College, that's college in Pune, India. And then he went on to do his MBA. I went on to do my master's in computer science. And actually, we didn't meet for almost a decade, 15 years. We were, not even in touch. Then we started getting in touch, and one led to another. He joined TaxBuddy. I was in Bangalore. Bangalore is the Silicon Valley of India. So I was running another startup called Event Value. And for some reason, we had to close it down. And coincidentally, within 2 days, I was sitting in Pune working as a CTO of TaxBuddy. Things just moved very fast. They were looking for a CTO. One led to another. And as they say, the Reid Hoffman says, your network is your network. That's what happened with me.
There
And
we go.
I was here. So again, taxation, frankly, was a very boring topic, at least for me. But I think when you work with friends, especially at this junction of your career, especially your college friends, so I think it's very fulfilling because the last leg of my career, probably you're back to college kind of thing. So you're very happy.
Right. Good. So it's a long-term relationship that you guys had way before Text Buddy, right? So being that that's the structure for your business and you guys are really focused on how do you grow, how do you scale, and right now getting to those partnerships, what's a unique approach that your company has that others company.
So it's very interesting. So I think one of the things which happens in an organization is also DNA of the organization is very important. So in our case,
Mhm.
Sujit Banger, who is the founder of the company. So in India, the way you got IRS in US, we call it IT department. So
Mhm.
Sujit was an IRS officer, for Indian Revenue Services, which is a tax commissioner primarily. So he's been on the other side of the table all his life. So he was one of the youngest IRS officer, and he retired from there with a vision of starting TaxBuddy. Okay, and I remember exactly when I met him. So there were big players in this business. So there's a company
Mhm.
called Clear Tax and Quico and pretty big players. We are the youngest actually, if you look at it. And the first question I had is, again, I came from a not so successful startup, so you tend to be a bit more cautious with startup. So I asked him, why did you start and why now there are so many competitors? He said, believe me, there is a huge deficiency of service being catered to the end tax users, because, and he was right. So the way most of the online services operated was take a user, give him to a tax expert. They were more of a
Mhm.
Craigslist and no transparency in pricing, how much the partner earns, no one knows, and stuffs like that. So he was very clear. So I think one of the unique things which happened is we remained very customer focused and we realized that's the only way we'll grow. And that's the reason we've grown. So when we were talking to Geo Financial Services, one of the key highlights we had is look at our Google reviews. Taxation, as I said, is a very boring topic. Good reviews are generally difficult to get. If you do something wrong, Everyone is willing to
Oh,
give you a
yeah.
review in social media, but trying to get a good review is tough job, especially, something which is as boring as taxation, right? Once a year transaction at time.
Right.
So we've got almost 17,000 reviews on Google. To be almost an arrogance, that we don't even now compare with other competitors. So we are, literally number one. So that's one thing I think is very unique, from an
Absolutely.
organization, from our approach perspective, and that really helped us, to kind of go from being a youngest company, go and compete with large companies on the same deal on integration with large industry houses and still back the deal kind of a thing.
That's fantastic. And given just to shift a little bit here, given your experience, right, and the industry trend, what major shifts have you seen in your industry in the past year?
I think there are two interesting things. I think there are two things which have shifted now. When we started our company, we also had these two products, what we spoke initially, right? FinBingo, TaxBuddy. And I think we thought that people will not want to work with the same brand for tax filing and financial services, portfolio
Mhm.
investment services, their mutual fund and all the other financial planning and everything. But that is shifting now. So if you look at all our
Mhm.
companies, our competitors are also going towards the same direction where they are merging the both products into one. So that's one shift we have seen. The second shift which has happened, and I think COVID has been a catalyst there, is the propensity to use online service has increased. And I think
Absolutely.
that for us was frankly, was a very big catalyst. People had no option during COVID. They had to look at online services, right? That
Absolutely.
has increased a lot. So I think that's been a big game changer. The third thing, which is very interesting, is tax compliance, especially in India, and I'm sure it's globally. The number of people who are coming under the tax bracket has increased. Now, I don't know whether you know about UPI in India, which is a digital payment mechanism initiated by the government. It's one of the largest digital payment mechanisms in the world. From a small shop vendor to, your milkman, everyone has UPI today in India, right? So I
Absolutely.
think
Yep.
if you don't have cash, you can survive. If you don't have uh, ability to pay digitally, you cannot survive in India. In fact, that's the way it has happened. So that has
Mhm.
also been another category where we've seen a phenomenal increase in the number of people who want to do tax filing, and also the education, and also COVID also made the people do a lot of capital market investment. So in India, the simple tax filing is called ITR1. ITR1 is you have a salary income and that's it. So when we started, 50% of our users were doing ITR1 filing, which is very simple, low ticket value.
Mhm.
But today the proportion is almost 20%. So it has reduced. A lot of those ITR1 users have started investing in the capital market,
Yes.
mutual funds, stocks. But in general, people have moved to investment opportunities, right? So we work with big professionals, I mentioned, right? So we cater to all users. We cater to normal, urban, salaried professionals. We also cater to SMEs. And then we cater to the rural as well as the gig professionals. Gig professionals are like Uber drivers. In India, we've got Zomato, which does food delivery, Rapido and others. So we work with them. Very surprising last year when we started building the whole system for them, where we thought they will not be doing any investment. Let's keep it simple. We launched it, and almost 20% of those people had capital gain investment. So they were investing, and they're not even formally educated. So
Right.
non-English speaking. So they are investing
They
in
do what
stock.
they can.
Yes, yes. So they are investing in stock market. They are investing in FNO. They're also investing in crypto. So that's the level. So that is another paradigm shift which is happening. I don't think language and education has become a barrier. With the amount of videos people are seeing, the different ways to get educated on these things have increased. The other interesting trend we've seen here is people are accepting WhatsApp as a platform to do something as serious as filing their income tax returns.
Mhm.
Catered to all channels. So we've got a web, we've got a mobile app, and we've also got a WhatsApp bot, which basically does the whole tax filing journey. And we've seen almost 10% people filing their returns on WhatsApp.
Really?
Yes, yes. And very interesting, 50% of those are senior citizens.
Not in the US. We don't use it as much here. It's
Unfortunately.
crazy.
Yes.
It's crazy,
So in
but
India,
we don't use it as much. Like Americans don't use it as much. Of course,
yes.
people from other countries, Brazilians use it a lot. Indians use it a lot. Americans don't use
Yes, in India, I think everyone is on WhatsApp. My mother, my father, everyone, no
it.
education.
Everybody uses it in
Yes,
Brazil too.
Yes. So, so that is another interesting trend we've seen. And the last trend we've seen is a lot of banks and financial houses, broking companies are interested in integrating income tax compliance as a part of their offerings, basically.
Okay.
Although you cannot access any of the data you take during income tax filing because that's a mandate from the regulatory that all the data is only between the user and the income tax authority. We are only intermediaries basically, so we cannot exchange use that data for anything. But still there is a very big leap, especially in last 1 year, where we've seen companies like Geo Financial Services
Hmm.
wants to do tax filing. We are talking with Bandhan Bank, we are talking to PSU banks, government banks in India, of complete integration where it's white labeled and it's part of. So I think everyone is trying to build a super app, and in that super app, to make the journey complete, they want to put tax filing also as one of the services.
So, is it fair to say that the changes that you have seen in the last year, they have affected your business in a positive way?
A lot positively, a lot
Yeah.
positive. Because we never thought we'll be white labeling our income tax app. We thought, all our other portfolio management application we had white labeled. We've seen a trend where even that is getting white labeled.
Got you. So, and what trends do you see emerging that could impact your industry in the next 12 to 24 months?
I think one is obviously this whole AI stuff. So,
Mm-hmm.
I so there are two parts to AI. One is selling AI to your customers, which everyone does. But I think the problem is a lot of them don't use AI as much as they sell to their customers. So a lot of our codes are now written in AI. It's a very clear mandate to all the developers that if you don't use AI, it's crying. You have to, if you sell the AI to your customers, you got to use AI yourself, right? So
Right.
think that is one trend which is going to see, not that I don't think it's going to reduce jobs, which generally seems to be all over the place. I think any new technology opens up a lot of opportunities, provided we
Absolutely.
leverage the right levers, basically. So I think your ability to turn around products, to turn around different features of your product is going to go
Hmm.
much faster today. Seeing that trend, I mean, just to give you a background, what we have done is, so over a period, TaxBuddy started building a good technology team as well, because we were always wanted to build a tech platform primarily. So we've created a separate entity called SSBA Technologies, which is AI first company. Discussing today, I think a large company with 1 lakh employees, a million employees, 100,000 employees, and a small company like us with 30, 40 good staff, it's becoming a level playing field because in fact, smaller companies have an advantage because you have to use AI. Startups always are running short of resources, so that's not even an option. So we have to do that, right? The second thing is the larger the company, the more difficult they're going to find to quickly adapt to the new AI world. When I talk to a lot of my friends
Hmm.
with large multinational services companies, I think they are struggling compared to small companies like us, where we can move much faster. The other thing which I think again suits your remote work philosophy is primarily geography is history today. So we work with a lot of our staff, a lot of our tech staff. In fact, our core tech guy who runs the complete infrastructure works out of home. 20%, 20 to 30% of our developers work out of home. So they sit in different cities and work. And as I said, option team is completely work from home. So we've got 30 people who work from home and India. We don't have to build offices. And our partners are as it is working from their own location pan India, right? So we've got just two small offices, one in Pune, one
Hmm.
in Mumbai, where a lot of few people sit, but everyone else works from home. So I think this whole remote working is something we'll have to accept and live with. We'll have to optimize of how do we work with them. Obviously, it's a paradigm shift. Employees also have to be more sensitive when they work from home. You'll have to take that leap of faith and leverage that rather than resist that, because resisting is not going to work. Because a lot of people, when they join, they are very clear, I want to work from home.
Hmm.
I think,
Absolutely.
and I think especially as startups, you can get better talent if you can give that flexibility, which other larger companies cannot give because of the enterprise nature, basically, right?
100%. That is absolutely what I hear from other co-founders, other CTOs, and other people in your position is you can reach the talent you're looking for when you hire remote and you're not restricting yourself so much because it has to be someone with all of the talents that you want in your immediate local area, right? Or your radius. So absolutely, you get to optimize and stretch out the opportunity for you to really find that person that's going to be an asset to your team.
The other thing which is very interesting trend, at least what I've seen, and I'm personally a very big fan of gig economy. Where you work with freelancers.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you ask me, I think the future is a guy sitting will work for 2, 3 companies. I think 4 years down the line, you won't have employees and employers. Basically, there'll be people who are talented. They work for multiple companies, right? I mean, that's going to be the future. That's my uh, that's my prediction. Maybe wrong, but I think what we've seen slowly is, and we've also engaged with a lot of gig professionals who basically work somewhere, but they've got some free time on a weekend, so they help us on some projects, especially when it comes to very specialized fields like AI, machine learning.
Mm-hmm.
And if you are a startup, and even if you're an enterprise for that matter, I think you don't need them full time, but you need them on a kind of a project basis. I think
Mm-hmm.
trend you're going to see increase gradually. I think this whole gig economy is going to gradually increase. And within that, there are two parts to this. One is this people who have some spare time and they want to utilize, kind of thing. The second, I don't know in US, but in India, the lady employees basically, once they have a baby, they kind of get some leaves. They take the sacrifice of professional career, and then they find it difficult to get into the formal workforce. They are very eager to come back to the workforce. And I think running a family is much more complicated than running a software project. I think that is another type of gig professionals who want to run a family, but they've got 4 hours a day, 5 hours a day, not a full day. But they can contribute a lot to the workforce, right? I think so. That's another type of gig economy which you're going to see gradually increasing a lot.
Absolutely. So your industry has had to adapt to a lot of industry changes, right? And everything that's going on, everything with AI, being more focused on the customer and also partnering up with companies who are willing to pass that service on to their employees and make it more of a seamless process when it comes to tax filing and really educating them on what it would look like. Is that right?
Yes.
Gotcha. And what's working well for you right now? Like, what kind of changes have you implemented that you're like, Deborah, we're really proud and we're really happy to have done this? And where do you find somewhat of a challenge?
So I think the last 12 months, especially what we did is two very interesting things. So we created a company called SSBI Technologies. We got a completely new CEO for it, Venkatesh Rao. And personally for me, I'm a CTO by, an engineering by academics and nature. It was very, I think, satisfying me to cut the technology off, set up a separate division, and that is AI focused, basically. I think you have to do that. I think if
Mm-hmm.
you want to build, and the byproduct is you're going to build a small technology company now. That So what has happened today is SSBI Technology. So when we work with Reliance Finance, it's a three-party agreement: TaxBuddy, Geo Finance, and SSBI Technologies. Okay, which
Mm-hmm.
means that we can leverage the technology ability to do more projects with Geo Finance, AI related projects, trying to leverage whatever we've spent 6 years building our platform, building the pieces of the puzzle. Like we've got a product called, which is a complete chat solution on AI. Productizing it, we started with a content management system. We used Wix. Then we started building our own stuff to make that as a product. And with AI, that's possible because you don't need a 1,000 people team. You can probably do it with 10 people, right? So that is one thing which we did good. The second thing which we did good is we formally set up a business development team, and that's why we could grow a lot this year on the B2B tie-ups, because otherwise it was more of a founder part-time activity. So all the founders, they have designations, but they would also do business development. So what we did this year is we had a complete team set up where we were focusing on business development as a stream, like the way we would focus on technology and operation. And that has given us good results. I think that really worked for us, where we've got big tie-ups, where we had one multinational banks. Today we've got 6 banks. We have large companies like Geo Financial Services, eMitra, and all the other tie-ups. So those are the two things I think we did well. And obviously the AI piece. I think setting up this SSB technology, one of the big goal was AI. And I think that really worked well for us.
And where do you find your challenges?
I think the challenge is always going to be, how do you retain people? because with AI, startups always have this challenge where
Mm-hmm.
some point you start getting a feeling you're becoming a training center for large enterprises because you groom people, you train them, and the challenge we'll have is when we groom these people, they will be at a much higher value when they go to the large enterprises. So how do we retain them and not become a training center for the large enterprises could be one challenge. The second challenge is as we grow, we are going to start saturating at some point. So how do we go
Mm-hmm.
beyond this services? And that's the reason we've started integrating all our financial modules into TaxBuddy, because that kind of starts making the product complete, right? So that's another challenge we'll have. So those are two key challenges I foresee.
Got you, got you. So is that where you also see your best opportunity for growth? When you get to overcome those obstacles, is that where you're going to hit your sweet spot?
Yes, yes. I think hitting a saturation is not a bad idea because you probably got the whole, a big chunk of the market, right? So that probably can convert into an opportunity. And I think with AI coming in, your dependency on a lot of developers reduces because you can turn around things much faster. If you got the key players or key team members in place, you can run a lean team and still be very fast and agile.
Okay. And what would success look like for you in the next 12 months?
I think to become number one, at least in India, that's one thing. So we didn't talk about it, but we've started US tax filing. 3 years back, it came from our users. So our users who
Mm-hmm.
were filing returns in India, NRIs, non-residential Indians who were living in US, they came to us and they said, "Oh, we file returns through you in India. Why don't you do something in US?" And we said, wow, that's a great opportunity. We started, and Sanjay took it very quickly. We got a few of CPA firms. We built a simple website, started leveraging on the TaxBuddy brand and getting a lot of customers. And we've been profitable from day one. So last year, I think we did a decent profit of $35,000 or something. And now what we are doing is, since our engine is built for India, and in Indian taxation is the most complex taxation in the world, very, very complicated. We are now going in a full throttle mode in US. We've also got our EFIN number, which is the intermediary license to file returns online. So we've got that license. So now we are going full throttle in US, where we will basically leverage all our back office and all that experience and do it for US. On a very early stage, we've also started working with GCC because
Okay.
Middle East and GCC have been tax havens. But gradually, I think because of the global pressure, they are also introducing taxation. So they've started with VAT around 4-5 years back. So we are working with a partner there where we are building a VAT compliance product primarily. But again, in India, we do that. A part of our product offering, we've got, like you got VAT in US, in India, they call it GST,
Mm-hmm.
so service taxes. So we've already have SME customers there. So we are trying to leverage that and start doing in Middle East. And I think we are very positive about this because it's very good that we are early into the geography. There's a huge NRI, Indian diaspora in Middle East. There. Luckily, our partner company is also very strong. They've got a good presence. So we are working with them to gradually start with VAT. So we are going early there and slowly start trying to get a foothold there. And again, leveraging our, the tax engine here and trying to reuse for that gradually. And very interesting, the VAT product is done by only one product manager. He uses AI to write everything, code everything. So, and that's how we are building a good MVP.
Right. And it goes back to exactly what you said a few minutes ago, that one person will be able to handle a lot more because they will have that assistance essentially of AI
Yes.
backing them up.
Actually, at least building MVP, taking it to the customers, coming back, fine tuning it. That Naveen, who is working on, so he's working on two products. Very interesting. One is a VAT product for Middle East. The second is, and he built a product which is for your invoice vetting. So
Mm-hmm.
corporates give this to the employees, but the government mandate is all those invoices needs to be vetted, that they are genuine invoices, properly audited. So he has built an engine which is, again, he and just one junior developer have built a complete engine. And believe me, we've sold it to one of the large MNC banks in India, a product built by a product manager part-time and a full-time
Mm-hmm.
junior developer. That's the power of AI basically.
Absolutely, absolutely. And just to tie it back to what we were talking about as well, when it comes to your challenges, right? And when it comes to everything that you're seeing right now in your business, you told me two challenges. If you had to choose one to solve that would make the most difference in your business right now, which one would it be and why?
I think we should focus more on talent retention because I think
Hmm.
with AI coming, I use this word NI, which is natural intelligence. I think the NI people are going to be the most biggest asset to the organization. People who can leverage AI in the right way. So to build that kind of people and retain them is going to be most important, for organizations of our size and structure. That is going to differentiate probably a good successful organization and not so successful.
So, educating and implementing all the tools that are available out there is a major focus for the company because AI is here and it's not going anywhere, right? There are so many tools and so many features and so many options that people usually don't make a decision because what if this is not the best one? Essentially, they don't leverage all of the tools that are available because, well, is it really what I need? Is it really the best option? So I agree with you. It actually creates some sort of freeze and analysis paralysis a lot of times because you're trying to get the best out of it when in essence you just need to sometimes implement it, see how it goes and make the changes along the way.
Yes, and I think it doesn't remain like using AI for tech stuff. You can use AI for HR, you can use AI for sales.
Mhm.
So what we did very interesting is we got a maths teacher who was working in AI, and we took him and we said, "You teach us AI." So he was our first AI recruit. Okay? Uh, Interesting guy. And then the first 4 weeks, I said, "You just go and talk to developers, talk to my HR, talk to my sales guys, tell them the power of AI." And I think that exercise has really worked. So today, everyone uses. I believe everyone uses at least AI in their day-to-day activities.
GPT is a tool that a lot of people use, but a lot of times very superficially, right? They keep it and exactly what you said. It's just the day to day, right? How can you help me with this little thing that I need help with when there is so much more power behind artificial intelligence today?
I think the training program worked. So that I think is a interesting thing where they are not just using to do document preparation, but they are using to writing prompts and then going back to the developer just to do the integration piece. Right?
And is that the person that you mentioned just to talk to the team
Oh,
and say, guys, this is what you're missing out on
yes.
type of conversation? Is that person still with you or was that a one time thing?
No, no, he's still with us. He is the what I call the first AI engineer in our company.
Perfect. Okay, great. So, absolutely. So, is there anything that's standing in the way of you achieving the goals that you have in mind?
I think on AI, I still feel there's a lot more to do, and I think a lot of, especially developers, seems to be very resistive. Incidentally, with whereas we thought
Hmm.
those will be the easy. I think it's a mind shift problem. I think people just have to, accept it and start leveraging it rather than what you rightly said. Too much analysis leads to paralysis. A bit of leap of faith risk. You may go wrong. I'm not saying it may not go wrong, but I think the amount of time you will save is phenomenal. I think today the developers are using more to optimize their code. I believe they should write their code and optimize their code, do everything on AI. So I think it's a more of a mindset issue, which hopefully we could be able
Absolutely.
to change over a course of time.
So, besides what you already have implemented, you guys are India's first AI powered platform for income tax filing, right? And tax compliance. So, I know that, of course, you guys have implemented AI on that end. Is there anything else that you guys have tried to apply AI for and didn't really find success with it just yet?
We did this whole FlexiBuddy product, the invoice vetting product, which is completely AI driven. The VAT product again is completely AI driven. I think if at least when we started this, we also wanted to do a lot more. Like we have a tax planning module which we wanted to make it AI driven. So that is still in our
Mhm.
so I don't think we've been not successful implementing AI any particular project, but our the AI we wanted in so many places, we've probably done only 20% of what we started with. I think there's still a lot more to do for us.
And something that I could point out on this is also that sometimes you can build a whole product around AI. You can have a whole business around AI, but you still have somewhat of a challenge to implement it internally, right? It's a funny concept, but it's true because a lot of and it goes with pushback from the employees. It's a mindset thing because of course people say if the AI starts to do what I do, I lose my job.
Yes.
So they may give you pushback because, of course, they want some sort of job security. So I've noticed that. And of course, being able to really educate people to say, hey, this is not working against you, it's working with you.
Yes, I think that's a big challenge. And I'm sure most of organizations struggle. The larger the organization, the larger the problem.
Yeah, absolutely. So, oh, one more thing before I go into that, we do have on our audience, right? You are in India, I am in the US. So, talk to my people here. If you live in the US, but you are Indian, what scenario are you looking at that you would need to file your taxes in India as well?
So they just have to visit taxbuddy. Just log in and they can file their returns. It's completely AI driven. We've got special packages for NRIs. That is one thing for Indians residing in US. And again, as I said, that if you open taxbuddy.com in US, you will get the US tax compliance site. This year we are, as I said, we are going full throttle. So we've got good partnerships locally and we are going full throttle in US as well.
So, if you are Indian and you live in the US, make sure you check out the website. Make sure that you are looking at, do you need to file taxes in India as well, right? Because it all depends on your current scenario. So, absolutely look for the expert who can guide you in the right direction. And so, looking ahead, Shri, how do you see your company exploring new approaches for business development and client acquisition? That you're going full throttle in the US, partnerships is a big thing for you guys. What do you have in mind on that spectrum?
So we are looking at two organic growth. So what we are looking at is two ways. One is obviously partnership companies which are already doing into taxation. They have a local presence, but they're looking at a technology arm we can chip in basically because that's what the big value we bring in. The second where we are looking at is smaller acquisitions where we are looking at small size companies, both in India and US. So we are looking at continuity challenge problem companies, mid-sized ones, one-man companies, where we will walk in, we come up with a formula of how much we pay out. And we will have a 3 years period where they will become part of TaxBuddy. They will become part of the growth of TaxBuddy and they'll also get a good value on their existing business. Looking at that kind of acquisitions, both in India and in US, they will become TaxBuddy family because one of the goals we have is basically cover everything a company needs, right? From filing tax returns to advanced taxes to, it's like part-time CFO for a company, basically, right? Companies, we don't need
Okay.
a full-time CFO for SMEs and mid-sized companies. So that kind of services will need these partners, basically we kind of, so already we've got a partners network in India. We're building kind of a master partner who are basically part of TaxBuddy. They already have a customer and then they can grow from that because we bring in the technology and other expertise.
And before we wrap up, what is the best way for people to connect with you and learn more about TaxBuddy? Of course, they can go on the website. You also have a LinkedIn page. So, what's the best way for people to find you?
Just go to the website. If anything related to taxes, find me LinkedIn, super active, and Srinivas.
All right, great. So, thank you so much for sharing your insights today, Shri. I'm confident our listeners will find great value in your perspective. Essentially, you have a lot of experience in a lot of different fields, and we can absolutely bring them value by having a quick conversation today. So, I do appreciate that.
Thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much.